So hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out for a few. My name is Rich Charpentier, I'm the channel host, and you're most likely coming by this channel because you're interested in drones, building your drone business, flying your drones, drone applications, etc. Because that seems to be mostly what we do here. We also do talk about travel sometimes, way back if you look far back in the channel. So today I wanted to have a quick conversation with you about COPPA and how it might impact drone channels like this one. So I know that a lot of people who found this channel did searches to, find drone information, maybe about Ground Station Pro or Metashape or whatever, and they stumbled across this channel. So you might not be a regular YouTube viewer, but you're a YouTube viewer when it comes to getting tutorials and online information about drone flight. And that's great. I'm glad to have you here. There are a lot of other channels on YouTube, and the COPPA rule that we're about to talk to might impact a lot of them. It might even impact drone channels if you say the wrong things or display the wrong things. So number one, what's COPPA? It is the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act that was actually passed back in 1998. So it's a little old. It's been around for a bit, but it's popping up now and everybody on YouTube is talking about it in a big way. I'm clicking over to my YouTube screen and I just pulled up a couple of things. YouTube's dirty COPPA secrets, and people are quitting their gaming channels and all these other things. So what's going on with this? Well, very recently, YouTube paid a pretty hefty fine, somewhere in the area of $170 million. So that's a sizable amount of money. They paid that fine because they were in violation of COPPA. COPPA protects children 13 years and younger. So that's what they define as a kid. And websites and online services are not supposed to track the information or activities of anyone under 13 years old, according to COPPA. Well, looks like YouTube had their hand in the cookie jar, and they were in fact tracking. Now, for people with channels that are monetized channels where they make some little bit of revenue, and it's a little bit of revenue, a tiny bit of revenue off of targeted advertising. And what had happened was YouTube was collecting this children data, and they were targeting different advertisers toward kids under 13. And so that is an absolute no-no, and it's been an absolute no-no since 1998. Well, after getting in trouble for this, YouTube has decided to shift the blame and the responsibility to people like myself, who are online creators and who do things on YouTube channels. So bottom line now, if you as a channel creator are not in compliance, you could get over a $42,000 fine. I don't think I'll ever make that amount of money on YouTube in the first place. So there are ways for channel owners and creators to protect themselves. They can actually go in and report whether or not their videos are targeted toward children under 13, or whether their content is not for children. If you've been a regular follower here, I think you know this is probably not for children on this channel. We do tutorials about drone flight. We do tutorials about drone applications. And we're talking to an adult audience. And when I look at the analytics of my particular channel, I have people who are 25 to in their 60s following along here. I don't have people younger than that. But drones can be interesting to a younger audience without a doubt. So if there's any question at all as to whether or not any of my videos might be appealing to children, I'm going back through my videos and making sure that they're not appealing to children. Now, the letter of the law and the way it's put out there, there are a lot of things that are appealing to children, apparently, and a lot of words, including the word fun, which could be considered appealing to children. So as the FTC starts tracking through our channels, they might just see words and labels that they think, oh, well, that's child appealing. Or they might see something beautiful and colorful, like maybe a gorgeous photo from a drone somewhere up in the Page, Arizona area. Yeah, that could happen. I've got some really colorful pictures. I've got some really pretty scenes. That might be interesting enough and attractive enough to somebody under 13 to where they come and look at it, or the FTC says, hey, that's attractive and pretty and colorful. That looks like it's targeted for kids, even if it's me droning on and being boring about how to use this app or that app. So it is a concern. It's not as big of a concern to me as it is to other folks running channels. But one of the things that really bothers me about this, and we as drone operators, we already know about rules and regulations from the federal government because we have the FAA's Part 107 exam. We have rules to follow. And if we don't follow them, we can get ourselves in trouble. Well, what bothers me with YouTube's reaction and where YouTube is now pointing the finger at creators is the fact that we as creators do not compile and track the people who are visiting our sites. I get a breakdown from YouTube of the age brackets and stuff and how many minutes are watched, but I don't know, the actual age ranges of people who are coming in here. And I don't track that. So YouTube tracks that, not me. As far as COPPA goes, they're supposed to be going after people who are collecting this data and using it, let's say, to target advertising to young kids. We as channel creators, we as the folks who are putting out these videos, we're not collecting that data. We're not targeting the advertising. YouTube's targeting the advertising. Yet now it could come down on us if somebody feels that we're kid friendly, if somebody feels that there are themes and language that are appealing to a very young population, that it's our problem, and then we're going to get hit with a fine. I think that's kind of screwy. I think the FTC's got it a little wrong, and we're going to have to see how this plays out. But the bottom line is I am not tracking anything about any of my subscribers. I am not targeting advertising to any of my subscribers. My channel is monetized. And when you come to it, you usually get a stupid little ad down at the bottom or something that you can click past after a couple of seconds. And when I've seen some of the advertising on my channel, it's adult oriented. It's not for kids. So that's a good thing. But I'm not the one targeting the ads. I'm not the one collecting that data. So it's very interesting how YouTube has shifted the blame off of themselves for collecting that and targeting those ads. And they've said, actually, it's all on the creators now. Even though the creators can't do that, it's all on the creators now. And so that's extremely concerning. So what types of channels are really in jeopardy? Well, I've got some friends who are famous cartoonists, illustrators. They draw comics. They've been doing it for decades. A channel like that is appealing to somebody under 13 years old. So maybe they have to set that as targeted to kids. And when they do that, the monetization of their channel goes into the toilet. They lose their community tab. They lose commenting abilities. So if you get marked as a kid-friendly channel or a kid-targeted channel, and you're trying to actually make a living on YouTube, which I'm not, I get a little here, but it's not a living. But for those people who are trying to make a living and making kid-friendly content and making family-friendly content, they could get nailed with a huge fine if they do this wrong. So I wanted to bring this to you guys here on this channel today because I know you might not watch a lot of other channels. You might just use YouTube for your educational content, and that's awesome. But I actually do follow along on some other channels because I'll admit it, as an adult, I still like Legos. So I follow a lot of Lego channels, and I've seen a lot of the guys and gals running the Lego channels who think they might be torpedoed with their channels because it is not only interesting to a younger audience, it's interesting to an older audience. But if they get it wrong and they get it wrong on their labeling of their videos, man, that's a big fine. So what's the alternative? Trying to avoid getting that fine? Take your videos down? Take your channel down? That's pretty extreme. I do, the intent of COPPA, I completely and totally understand. Yes, we want to keep kids online safe. And as a matter of fact, kids under 13 years old aren't supposed to be signing up to YouTube in the first place. But a lot of these kids are using their parents' logins, etc., and they're not being supervised. So now the Federal Trade Commission has stepped in and said, well, we're gonna deal with this. And like I said, YouTube's response is, well, we're just going to shift the blame to the creators. I don't think that's a great approach. So I'm going to put a couple of links down below. I'm also putting a link in the end screen because I want you to take a look at the video that I'm looking at over on channel here, what YouTube's not telling you about COPPA. So Ian Corzain, he's a lawyer. So he is a social media lawyer, apparently. I watched his video. It's a very good video. And if this piqued your interest at all and it's made you curious about your own channel or other favorite YouTube locations that you enjoy that might be threatened by this, I suggest that you go over, check out Ian's video. And he has some links to a petition to the FTC. So we've still got some commenting time available to us. I've already filled it out myself, and friends and family, I've told them all about this. And I decided to do this video. It's not a clickbait or anything. It's very simply, I understand that a lot of my channel subscribers might not be watching a lot of other stuff on YouTube, and they're just here to get some educational information for their drone flight. And with that in mind, I wanted all of you to see this too, to understand what's happening on YouTube. This could be a really big hit to YouTube. We're talking streaming video gamers who make huge amounts of money, who aren't kids, who, are adults. We're talking about creative channels. There are a lot of vloggers out there that are teaching people how to illustrate, that are, doing crafts. All of these types of things could be interesting to kids. Video games, even though there's a lot of adult video games are appealing to kids and adults. Well, if they're appealing to kids and someone's doing a video game walkthrough, they might have some people under 13 watching, and now they're demonetized. And now if they didn't label things appropriately, they're in trouble and they could be paying hefty fines. So there is a large segment of YouTubers out there who could really get steamrolled by this. And so I don't have all the answers to it, but I do know, like I said before, we as creators, we are not personally tracking anybody's information. YouTube's doing that. Putting the responsibility on us, I think, is the wrong approach. And I think that they need to think deeper, really come up with a better solution than penalizing people who bring family-friendly content and informative content to everybody else across the world with this platform.